Hey, I'm Dan from Rome Overland Vehicles. This is a video review of the Setpower RV45D. Little background about us. My wife and I have been building vans and campers for the last, I don't even know, 5-6 years now. We actually lived in one full time for over a year. When they reached out to us, they wanted to see if we wanted to pick something off the website and review it. Kind of put it through its paces and then do a video about it. So the one that we chose was the RV45D. The reason why we chose this one was a few features that we liked. The wheels and the retractable handle makes it nice for transferring because we're not mounting this permanently in any vehicle. What we had plans on doing was going between our pickup truck for just short weekend trips and the Unimog you see behind us for the longer extended trips. There's a couple things that we do like about this thing and a couple things that I'm going to change to make it even better. So some of the things that we'll go through in this video is power draw, the actual temperature, the fluctuations of the temperature, how it manages holding the temperature while you're actually using it. We've gone through, I don't even know how many refrigerators. A lot of the brands we normally use would be Isotherm, Dometic. So this will be our first cooler style that we've used. The rest of them all been actual door fridges that open and close. We'll go through some of the pros and some of the cons on it. The cons are things that I can change pretty easily on it, but it's things that if I was to buy this or somebody else were to buy this, then I would recommend changing that over. Some of the things that we do like, the pros, and this model in particular, was the wheels, the handle that you can slide in or out. This handle is actually removable, so if you wanted to, you can change it to this retractable fold-out handle on both sides, which is nice. The top load, it's got the inserts where you can make part of it freezer, the whole thing freezer, the whole thing a fridge, or freezer and fridge. So that's nice. It's got two temperature controls, so one for the freezer and one for the fridge, or if you take the divider out, it automatically senses it, and then you can change it all just to fridge, so you set it whatever temperature you want it to be at. Which I really like that. That's a nice feature. When it's running, one of the positives are the power draw is not a lot. It was only running around 4 to 4.5 amps when it was actually running. I'll go into how that can be a little bit of a negative here in a minute, but I do have a fix for it. The other thing, I love the size of it. The internal size is great. We've used this in the Unimog for long trips. We've used it in our pickup truck for short trips. We've also used it at the house. We had some unexpected visitors for a long weekend and we needed extra fridge space. So we actually just brought this home and plugged it in at home because they have an adapter for AC at home. And then I can use 12 volt in the truck or in the Unimog, which is nice. So I've used it in all three. One thing to note is in the truck, when we're running it, say if we stop for a few minutes, obviously the power, when you turn the truck off, it stopped pulling from it because we didn't have it tied to a secondary battery. So it would turn off and it would hold its temperature for a bit, but that is something to be mindful of if you're gonna be driving, stopping, is just to keep an eye on the temperature. I actually threw in a Bluetooth monitor into this fridge and the other fridge that I had running inside the Unimog. So I will show you some side-by-sides and kind of break down the temperature variations on those. The fridge was full of stuff and it was set to 31 degrees. I thought that would help level out the temperature swings, but it didn't. I think a thermal blanket would definitely help, but you can see every time the compressor kicks on, it definitely cools it down fast, but it kicks on way too much without the thermal blanket. The Dometic traditional fridge style, you can see how much more mellow that temperature swing is every time that compressor kicks on and off. So hopefully with thermal blanket, that would help. So you can see compressor, the darker blue is the colder areas. You can actually see where my arm was just resting. That's funny. But you can see where it's getting cold. So the thermal blanket around this thing would be really nice. The outline's kind of hard to tell, but wheel, compressor, outlines there. So you can see this cold area. That is too funny. Yeah, the seal holds it nicely. Same thing with on this side here. You can see the darker color is the colder. So with a good thermal blanket, that would really help. So with that kind of shows you the temperature fluctuations on the difference between the Dometic and the Setpower. Regarding those temperature fluctuations, a few things that I would do to make this cooler fridge even better would be, through Setpower, they have a thermal blanket, like an insulating wrap that goes around this thing. I would definitely invest in that. I think it was only like 85 bucks, but that is something that I would be purchasing for this. I think that would help those fluctuations, because when the compressor's running, Pro that I really like, it's really not very noisy when it runs. It's pretty quiet. It's actually sitting here running right now. And you could hear it kick on and off every once in a while. But that would help that compressor cycle less. Another thing that I would change to make this thing even better would be the hardware on the bottom of the cooler. There's definitely a few things that are lacking on the bottom, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So one thing I want you to see is this distance down here, this bar, and the hardware that they sent over, how close that is to the ground. That has caused issues, and I'm actually missing one right now. So let me flip it over and I'll show you what I would do to make this better. So the way that they have these is like thumb screws, and there's two things about this that I would change. The hardware that they sent over, one, it didn't have any Loctite or anything. I would add Loctite, but I'm gonna change these out and go with an actual like Phillips machine bolt to get in there. I just need to find the diameters, probably some metric size. But to change the low profile, because you could see the difference in this. The other thing that I was looking at doing was taking this whole hardware off and flipping this over, so the wheels are sitting much lower. I'd probably have to adjust these as well, get something longer for that part. But this height reference to the wheels is fine for pavement, but as you can see, we've been using this thing quite a bit, and as soon as you get off the pavement, then you're just tearing this thing up on the bottom. So this piece getting flipped over, I think would really help out. So on the control side of things, there's the fridge side and the freezer side, and you can adjust each side independently. When the freezer divider goes in, it will light up the freezer side, and then you can adjust that. Right now, you can adjust the fridge side to whatever temperature you need. Power button on off, which is nice. They have little indicators for it. And you can kind of see the inside. The light is really nice. We just cleaned it out. We had a show this last weekend, so it's been getting used, that's for sure. Overall, I think it's great. We've been using it. There's definitely a few things that I would change. One being the outside wrap, one being the hardware underneath. As you can see, I've already lost one, but that's something that I will change and add some Loctite to it to make it even better. The power draw is good. It will be better with less cycle time, with the compressor cycling less with that thermal blanket. I have added my own extension to the power supply, and that's for my truck, so it can run in the back of the truck bed and be plugged in inside the cab. So that's really not much of an issue for us. It's got a cigarette lighter adapter for it, and it's got AC, so you can plug it in the house, which is a plus. I really like that. I hope you find this video helpful. This is kind of our first actual review video, so I tried to go as in-depth as I could and really break it down. I don't see a lot of people actually showing the data on the temperatures, the power draw. So I hope those are helpful to people, because that's helpful to us when we're building and using products in vans and campers. That's the stuff that matters. I think with a few little modifications, this thing would be great. Right now it's good. We enjoy it. We're gonna continue to enjoy it. It'll probably be in the back of our truck with us all the time. They did send over a link with the discount. I'll post that down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.